Good morning, everybody. You got the Morning Dick Richey show right here. It went live yesterday. Don't know why, but it went live. This morning I got a good surprise. So I got my little shop cat Lilith here. She's laying on her couch. She's got a cat condo over there too. She was laying on her couch and my dogs came in. So my dogs and Lilith don't really get along good. It's always been a cat and dog thing. Hey, check this video out. Here, a little. Well, everybody, this is the first time and the first day that I've been able to have my puppies and my barn cat in the same room together. And Malcolm, look at this. Isn't this nice? It's quite lovely. Even Fergus is being nice. Fergus, give her a kiss. Because she will mess you up if you don't. Be nice, Fergus. My girl Lilith, she's not scared of anything. But normally, these guys don't get along. What a surprise this morning. So a little bit to talk about today. I don't have NAFs other than the Kubi Momentum I'm giving away later tomorrow, because today's Thursday. But last night was a Republican debate, and it looked like Vivek Ramaswamy pulled out some cutlery, some political cutlery, and he started chopping up the competition. What I liked the best was he chopped up the moderators right out of the gate. Tell me, he said.
Trump-Russia collusion hoax that you pushed on this network for years, was that real or was that Hillary Clinton made up disinformation? Answer the question. Go.
Answer the question. Probably one of the first candidates to ever get up on one of those stages and demand an answer from the moderators from their network, CNN. Not a Fox guy. I like some Fox personalities. Final straw. I don't like Tucker Carlson. I don't want to say I don't like him. I don't enjoy him. I think he's a smarmy. I think he's a weenie. But he's a journalist. He'll ask the hard questions. He'll dig deep. And his opinions are pretty good. It's just the way he delivers his opinions to me are kind of, I don't know. I don't love it. But when they got rid of him, it was kind of a message, I believe it was an overall message to the conservative base of the fans of that network. It was a message to them that, hey guys, we're not conservatives here at Fox. We're just playing conservatives for you guys for ratings. And when they got rid of Tucker, I think that was proof. But I was gone well before that because the news is tough for people. It's very tough for me. The news makes me angry. It's supposed to stir you. It's supposed to get you grumbling inside and make you passionate about one thing or the other. And then in all actuality, when I'm saying news, the media, because not all that is news. A lot of it's opinionative talk show kind of stuff. But when you let that get too big, it drives a nice wedge in between the parties, in between people with different thought concepts. And that wedge gets wider and wider and wider, creating a separation. And in this gap between the two now is nothing but gray matter, garbage. A lot of crossing lines, then coming back. A lot of spy activity, all that crap. It happens. It's there, it's real, it's something, that is not good for the country. It's not good for people in general. It's not good for families. My dad and I don't get along. We don't speak. Largely to do with politics. He raised me my whole life as a as a free thinker, but I was raised on conservative morals, conservative ethics, you know, and he kind of abandoned that and went to the left and got pretty liberal. And that's a tough thing for me to swallow. I can't swallow that because I really got a strong belief deep down that liberals are not good for our country. They like to play good. You know what I mean? They're passive aggressive. They wear a mask, but then as soon as they take the mask off, they are not good. But it wasn't. This isn't really about that. Maybe what I want to talk about is something that I don't think scares enough Americans. It doesn't scare enough people in the world. Is billionaires. Millionaires were bad enough as it was, flaunting their wealth, floating around their yachts, driving their fancy cars, eating their fancy food, looking down at us regular people, us middle class people, looking down on us like we're nothing. Millionaires. You know, billionaires can't even see us. We become ants. Hear me out, please. We become ants. Have you ever walked down a sidewalk and you saw a bunch of ants coming out of a little ant hole on the sidewalk and you didn't care if you stepped on it or not because they're just ants? You know, you got kids in the neighborhood with their magnifying glass back in the day and they would let the sun burn the ants. And then there's just all these different ways that, you know, humans don't mind killing insects that are small, real small. We don't mind it. We take out the human element of that murder, of that. Now, I'm not PETA. I'm not one of these guys, but it's an example. These are living creatures, and there are times where I've been walking down a sidewalk and I didn't care if I stepped on a bug or a whole bunch of them. Well, that's what humans become to billionaires. We become bugs. I'm going to throw out, it's a thing that's going on right now in the media. UFC accepted a sponsorship contract with Bud Light for $100 million for 6 years, and Bud Light's coming off of one of the biggest beer boycotts in the history of the world. Yeah, I mean, not like that was big news before, like, oh, let's boycott beer companies. It's probably the only beer boycott, to be honest with you. But they went from a decided lead of the top number one beer for decades to out of the top 10 because they thought that they were going to unite with a transgender fella, Dylan Mulvaney, and they were going to create a whole new wave of customers coming in from the LGBTQ and then the rest of the suffix that goes with that I refuse to remember. I'm surprised I have chosen to remember the LGBTQ, to be honest with you. Let me get back on track. What I'm getting at is when a company is worth hundreds of millions into the billions, strange things start to happen, folks. This lady at Bud Light, and I've said this before, but this has got to be something that we need to say, how does this happen? And correlate it to our real lives. How these billionaires can have such influence on our lives. It's influence. They have so much money, they can lose money for their influence. Their influence has greater strength. It has greater value than money. They have calculated this. These are formulas. These are equations that the rich have determined that, yeah, we're going to put some time and effort into Dylan Mulvaney. Yes, we're going to lose a lot of money. No, we're not going to fire the person who decided to do that. After we've lost millions and millions and millions of dollars, $400 million last quarter was lost. They haven't fired this lady. Tell me, other than these big companies, any company you know can lose $400 million and still be in business. Tell me a company can lose $400 million and turn around and still buy a $100 million advertising contract with UFC. Tell me any company, any entity that can lose $1 billion or whatever. I think it's getting close to that total. But, you know, tell me a company that can lose that much money Not fire the individuals that were responsible for this bad choice in marketing. Not fire them. They're not fired. They're still with the company. You know why? Because they are so big and so influential in our world, they can do whatever they want. How can us as Americans sit back? How can the world sit back? This is world affecting. Bud Light's not an American company anymore. Shoot, I think it's out of Sweden or something. InBev, look it up. Belgium, whatever the hell they're from now. But it's sold all over the world. They have the same influence and effect on smaller companies, bigger countries, whatever it may be, all over the world. And they can do whatever they want. And they can make these huge mistakes that amass huge losses and still be there pressing forward on the influence upon us. I'm sorry. We should not be living in a country right now that can have that much money and that much influence and lose that much money on bad choices that went against the majority ruling of a large country, a powerful country, America. Our country stood up and said, no, you're wrong. We're not playing this game. We don't want this on our beer cans. And this is just beer. Imagine what they're doing everywhere else. Pharmaceuticals, you name it. The insertion of influence that they are doing across the whole world. It's scary, folks, and we just let it happen. We're just letting it happen. I'm sorry. I'm not saying acquisition of wealth. I'm not saying take it over, but don't let them get that big in the first place. That's monopoly stuff. There's a reason why there were monopoly rules back in the day. There are reasons for that. It's this. If a company owns a market so strongly and has so much money and so much wealth that they can lose just the most incredible portion of that wealth and still be operable and not even like show any consequences to the people that made the mistakes, that should scare the hell out of you. Come on, guys. I've been in the pipe fitting world. I was a steel worker. I've worked all kinds of jobs. I worked in a gas station when I was a kid. I've worked all over the place. I have never worked at one of those places and thought that I'd be safe if I lost that company a significant amount of money. And when I say a significant amount of money, I'm talking like thousands of dollars. I would not have felt safe for my occupation, for my job, for my career, for my future if I was responsible for that loss. I'm telling you right now, it makes no sense. It makes no sense. And we know this. It's all right in front of us. And we're just like, I don't know. And I even had a video that came out in support of Dana White accepting the contract with Bud Light. And I knew, open-mindedly, by trying to be the high road on that and say, yeah, maybe it's time, because they do have 65,000 employees that are Americans that need their jobs. But maybe they ought to go on strike and boycott their own company then, if this is the case. Could you imagine how beautiful that would be? 65,000 Bud Light employees are on the streets striking Bud Light, and they don't want more money. They don't want more years on their contracts. They don't want more insurance. They want to exclude politics from their company, and that be it. Say, we don't want our company that we work for to involve themselves in identity politics any longer. Could you imagine the success of a strike, 65,000 strong on the street, saying, we don't want more money. Look right in the cameras. They go up right to NBC, CBS, ABC that's out on the street, and they go, we don't want more money, CBS. We just don't want our company to partake in identity politics. We don't want our company to try to influence American families. Unless those influences are of good moral fabric, we do not want it. So we will be on strike. So I am against Bud Light now. Until those employees, those 65,000 employees, grab themselves by the bootstrings, get out on the street and say, we're on strike, but we don't want money. We don't want more insurance. We don't want more 401k. We don't want pensions. We want our company to be good. We want our company to care and stop participating in all the garbage and just participate in selling a good beverage to Americans after they work a hard week and they want to drink a Bud Light. That's what we want, because that's what we make Bud Light for. You know, that's when I'll support Bud Light again, is when those people now, because I was like, hey, Dana White, UFC, take Bud Light back, because there's 65,000 people. They need their beer company to rise back again so that they can have nice, secure livings and careers.